Please welcome Carolyn Miles. Wow, that was, I haven't been in a movie before, so that was quite an experience. I want to start by thanking the Connecticut Women's Hall of Fame for this enormous honor. It really is an enormous honor. And it's really also very hard to follow people like Indra and Margaret, who have done so much. But I'm very honored to be part of tonight's ceremony. I also want to thank my friends from Save the Children who are here. Thank you. And I also want to thank my family and my friends from Fairfield. One thing I would say about it being a woman leader, and I think many of you know this, it takes a lot of support, and you never do it on your own. And so I have had tremendous support from my colleagues, and also from my friends, and certainly from my family. And I want to thank them, all of them. So thank you. I also want to thank the many talented women who are here tonight. I think it is a real tribute to Connecticut, frankly, to have so many women who do so many wonderful things here in the state. And I really have learned so much by being here tonight. So I want to accept this honor actually on behalf of two sets of people. One is the people who work for Save the Children around the world. And we have 25,000 people who work for Save the Children, and they work under incredibly difficult circumstances. They are under personal threats to their safety. They work in incredibly difficult circumstances. They see really terrible things every day. But yet, I would say that they are some of the most optimistic people that you will ever meet in the world. So I want to accept this honor on their behalf. Thank you. But maybe more importantly, I want to accept this honor on behalf of the people that Save the Children serves. You saw some of the numbers in the video, 140 million people, about 50 million children that we reached last year around the world. But every one of those is actually a real person. So I wanted to tell you about two stories from my travels that I was lucky, two people that I was lucky enough to meet. One was a few years ago when I went to India. And the reason I was in India is that India is the place in the world where, sadly, the most children die under the age of 5 every year. 2 million children will die under the age of 5 in India in a year. So I went to India to try to understand that, and I met a mother there, and much of Save the Children's work is with mothers. I met a mom who was living in a slum in Delhi, in a little tiny house. And I went to visit her because she had lost her first daughter. And I asked her to tell me the story about how she lost her daughter in childbirth. And she said she had come recently from a small town, and she had moved into the big city, and she was pregnant at the time. She didn't really know anybody. She went into labor at 4 o'clock in the morning. And she called a neighbor, and her neighbor came to try to help her, but the baby wasn't breathing when the little girl was born. And so we were sitting on this little wooden bed, and she told me, my baby died here on this bed. So that was bad enough, but actually, when I walked out of her little house, I looked up, and literally 100 yards from her house was a government hospital. And I said to her, why didn't you go to the hospital when you knew things were going wrong? She said, I'm too poor. They wouldn't have accepted me. I'm too poor to give birth in a hospital like that. So I stayed home, and I lost my daughter. That is the kind of thing that Save the Children works on every single day around the world, trying to change those kinds of beliefs and trying to change that kind of reality for millions and millions of women around the world who are mothers. The second story I want to tell you is about a little boy that I met just about 3 weeks ago. So I was in Greece, and I was visiting Save the Children's programs there for refugees that are coming across this little strait of water from Turkey into Greece. And actually, the night that I got there, they told me that they had lost a one-year-old on one of the trips. They're coming in these rafts that are stuffed full of people, 50, 60 people in this raft. And a one-year-old, they had lost track of the one-year-old. It was nighttime, it was very chaotic, and the one-year-old had fallen into the middle of the raft, and by the time they got to the shore, the one-year-old had drowned inside the raft. And this was happening every day. So when I was there, I sat and talked with some of the families about what was happening, and I met a family, a Syrian family, a mom, a dad, and 2 little boys. And I talked to them about their journey. They had just literally come off of one of these little boats. And on the one hand, they were so happy. They were so happy to leave Syria. And I talked to the mom, and I said, why, what prompted you to leave now? And she said, well, my kid's school was bombed for the 3rd time. We'd lost our house. The hospital that we had the health care that we had gotten from the local hospital was completely gone. She said, I just couldn't stay here anymore. We just couldn't stay. We had to leave. And I asked the little boy, Hassan, who was with the family, I didn't want to think about what this family would actually find on their journey. They were going to Germany, so 1,000 miles, and I knew this would not be an easy journey for them. But I wanted to uphold the happy spirit of this family. They were so happy to be actually on their way to a safer place. So I said to the little boy, what are you looking forward to when you get to Germany? And he said, I just want to be safe. I just want to be able to find my friends again and play outside and be safe. Surely that is something that we can give to every child. So on behalf of Hassan, I thank you so much for this honor, and thank you. Good night.